welcome to Retail Nightmares. I'm here with my co-host.
Hi, I'm Jessica.
And our guest this week is such a treat. Mr.
Triple
Aaron.
threat.
Triple threat. What? He's a figure skater.
Dancing, figure skating.
And he's a personal chef. Mr. Aaron Reed.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Hi.
Thanks for coming. We're really excited that you are here.
Oh, I'm excited to be here.
I'm surprised you didn't want cheese.
I'll have cheese.
Okay.
That'll be a segment where we feed Aaron cheese.
Sure, I'll have everything.
But every podcast.
I've got 2 different types.
Of cheese?
Oh, didn't you say you wanted to do like a blindfold taste test?
I didn't, but I'll do it. I absolutely did not say that, but I will do it.
Totally said that.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So you are pretty much like everything we're looking for in a guest. You're
Just like in a man.
and a man.
Okay.
That's true, actually.
This is a podcast dating
Things are
show.
getting a little bit hot and heavy.
Okay, cool.
We can't be like that with the guests.
No.
Okay,
Sorry.
sorry about that.
I'm comfortable with it.
Okay.
I can't, but then, that
But
sounds
also,
bad.
like,
But it's also like, stop.
yeah.
I
Please don't.
apologize.
It's like you're making me blush, but also I'm a little scared right now.
We've already made Aaron wear a necklace.
That was his choice.
Well, he did bring it. He did show it to us, and then we thought it would look best on him. And what does your necklace say?
It says,
Fairest of them all.
I found it in the garbage this morning.
How often do you go through the garbage?
I don't. I just was throwing out garbage and there was a
Then you
gold.
saw something
It's
shiny.
the end of the month, though, so always the best stuff is
Yeah.
going to be...
It's the time to look on Craigslist.
Like,
it's the time
I
to look
went
in the
down a
garbage.
few alleys yesterday because my friend was like,
Oh,
there's
did
going to
you?
be some good stuff. We found an iron, but neither of us wanted it.
I needed an iron. Why
It's
didn't
still
you text
there.
me?
I
I'm
can
just
go
kidding.
get
Why
it.
did you go through all your friends near this iron in the alleyway?
I don't
funny.
have Snapchat. Sorry, guys.
In Vancouver, people will put almost anything in the garbage that you don't need instead of just. There's a lot of times I see things that should be disposed of properly, but people in Vancouver, like someone will take it, which translates to I don't have a car and I'm not going to spend $80 to get someone to pick up my garbage.
And
Yeah.
this is just going to get ruined by rain. So,
Yeah, I've seen people leave out pieces of furniture that are made out of press wood, and they can't survive one rainfall. And I've watched a bureau or a chest of drawers, I guess that's what you call it here.
Either or.
Okay.
Armoire?
Just slowly disintegrate over a spring in Kitsilano. So wasteful, guys. Back on
Sad.
track. Tell us more about the garbage.
Yeah, I just popped open the lid.
Yeah.
To throw some garbage out.
Uh-huh.
And I saw this beautiful gold necklace that was on top of a bunch of avocados and some dust bunnies and hair.
So you took the dust bunnies and hair first.
So
Yeah,
this is like
checked it out.
a loose garbage can. Like people aren't bagging up their garbage.
Nah, or
It's
it's
a
been
loose
rooted
garbage
through.
can, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and I just picked it up. Was like, this looks nice. I actually
You're right.
sincerely thought like maybe I could give it to one of you. I don't know why.
And
You're wearing it now.
Now I'm wearing it.
We totally rejected it. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I didn't. It was kind of a joke, but I was like, this could be cool.
You probably don't know this about me, but I have it's not serious at all, and I apologize to people that have it for real, like Howie Mandel. But I don't touch a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah.
But it's not. I'm not a germphobe. Like I think a lot of things don't gross me out. But sometimes I just don't touch things, and other people are like, let's touch it. And I was like, I'm not going to touch that necklace on my head. I'm like, I'm going to give it just enough of an eyeball to me to understand I don't want to touch it.
Right. Yeah.
Partially is because I think that if you touch it, you'll get the emotions of the person that wore it last. Anyways.
I feel that about when you wear like someone's jeans from Value Village. You're like, what if these were a murderer's jeans?
Yeah.
And you're like, and I absorb some of that energy.
What if my butt
Yeah.
becomes a murderer?
What if you find
Specifically
like
the butt.
The butt.
a confession note to some sort of terrible crime?
Yeah. In the pockets?
Then you
Yeah.
have to eat it,
Ooh.
or it'll eat you. I don't know.
Do you think that they go through the pockets looking for money?
I found money in pockets in thrift stores before. Not thrift stores, actually, like vintage stores. It was like a white suit, and there was a cigar and like $20
Whoa.
in the
Come
pocket.
on.
Holy
It was
shit.
great. It paid for the suit, actually.
Was it unwrapped cigar?
Yes.
Wow.
Do you
We
guys
didn't smoke
ever
it.
smoke cigars?
No.
Never.
Looks insane to do.
It's like smoking 10 cigarettes, right? Like
That
at
too.
once.
10 cigarettes that smell like cat poo.
Yeah.
There was a weird time. All of the like mid to late 90s, that's when I was like young and stupid.
Yeah.
And all of my dresses were like postage stamp sized, and I had a shaved head.
Nice.
And
What?
and I'd always go to like
Oh,
these
shade of
crazy
Connor.
fancy restaurants and get too drunk. And once I sat on the lap of this mafia guy, and we would smoke cigars at this place, and he's like, "I have a gun," and then he said something really filthy to me.
Yeah.
And I remember just laughing because I don't think I'd had sex more than like 3 times at that point.
Wowza.
And he's like, "I want to." I'm not even doing it.
I hoped it was filthy, like, I don't use toilet paper. Like that kind of filthy.
Yeah, he's like, I have a gun. That's one of the things he said. And the next thing he said was something really dirty, and I just laughed. I was like, no one does that to another person. That would be dirty.
You silly mafia
You can't
man.
do that with your mouth.
Wow.
Crazy. I never knew that about you.
So much about you.
Yeah, like I had my wild years were really stupid.
Yeah.
All wild years are stupid. They're not like, wow, I'm really glad that I was such an idiot.
I think I thought other people were having similar wild years, but it was just this group of guys that I went to high school with that were really fun to hang out with, and I would just try and keep up with them and drink like tons of shots, and we would eat expensive meals. We'd spend our whole paychecks in like a night.
Whoa.
They were very small paychecks because we were working for $10 an hour.
Yeah. Who does that anymore?
Yeah. Right,
Crazy.
guys? So this is Retail Nightmares. We don't really know what's going to be talked about, but at some point we're going to share a story about working in retail. Have you had a lot of retail jobs?
I haven't had too many retail jobs, but I've like worked in like lots of grocery stores.
Like, that's retail.
Okay, that's retail.
yeah.
And
That
like Salvation
counts.
Armies. I always think that retail is just
You
selling
worked in a
jeans.
Salvation Army?
Yeah, I was donations sorter for. I got fired from that job.
wow.
So.
Okay, let's start with why you got fired.
Yeah.
So I got fired from that job?
Please.
Yeah.
Well, I got fired from that job because I couldn't handle the workload because it's, I guess, kind of cool. The Salvation Army. No, it's cool. I mean, like, Salvation Army's like weird because they're like homophobic and stuff.
Yeah,
But-
they're religious.
Yeah, they're extremely
Yeah.
religious. But they hire a lot of people, like, who are new to the country and stuff.
Okay.
But, which is good, but then they make them do an insane amount of work, because they will. So then when this, like, when this, like, white kid from the suburbs got the job,
Soft
I was
hands.
like, this is crazy. And, sorry.
Burping is allowed.
You're
on
just
this
choking
podcast.
up a little bit. It's okay to cry.
Yeah, there was just so much work, and it was so crazy. Like, the manager went away for a week, and this other manager came, and, like, the assistant manager got me to price stuff, which is not my job, and, like...
Did you have to use the pricing gun?
No, I just wrote it down.
Okay.
And I was also, like, going through a breakup with my first girlfriend, so I was really depressed all the time. And,
Sure.
and there was always people coming in and trying to scam the store. Like, 5 people would come in.
Sorry, I do that.
And they would, no, but these are, like, deep scams. Like, there'd be 5 people go in the store, and then one of them would make a commotion there, and one of them would make a commotion there, and someone would steal something from the back, so you had to, like, try and stop that. I basically just couldn't handle it.
It's
Wow.
crazy that you have to stop someone from stealing something that was donated.
Yeah.
Like, for a charity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds like, and so they let you go.
Well, I just couldn't handle the workload, and then so she was like, Aaron, we have to let you go, but can you work tomorrow? And then so I did. I was like, sure, I guess. I'm 18, I don't know. So then I was super mad that day, and then I was like, back because every morning you have to collect all the garbage from out front of the store that people have donated overnight, and then you have to mop the entire store before it opens. And I was vacuuming the carpet, but I was like bashing the vacuum against the wall. She's like, Aaron, you have to come up here. And I was like, okay. She's like, you're scaring. Because it was me and a bunch of like middle-aged women from all over the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who were very religious, which was frightening.
Man
You were
with a
converted to
vacuum.
so many different religions at the same time.
Well, they were just saying weird stuff. Like, I remember in the break room, and one of my coworkers would be like talking trash about another coworker, like, "Oh, Janine is, giving me all her work, but I'm not worried about it because God will punish her."
Wow.
And I was just like, "Oh my god!" So I was vacuuming really angrily.
And Janine has a miscarriage at the same time.
Yeah. And then you heard it. And then you heard it go like, "No."
That's how it happens.
And she's like, Aaron, you have to go home. You're scaring all the women. And I was like, oh no. And then I was like, okay. And then I was like,
You take your pitchfork and you leave.
Yeah.
You didn't realize you were still dressed as the devil from the night before.
Yeah,
It was Halloween, November 1st.
And then I started crying and told her about how I was going for a breakup, and then so she was like, "It's okay, Aaron. You'll find another lady. It's okay, but you cannot work here, and we want you to leave now."
Wow.
So I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
Yeah, it was funny. It was weird.
Have you ever been fired from a job?
No. I've been, like...
Not put on the schedule? That's the classic retail move.
No, there's been, like... I worked at the hospital, and I worked for a doctor that was funded through a grant, and then the grant money dried up, and then they were like, we don't have anything to pay you with. And I was like, okay, I'll just stop coming in. But then the work was still there, and no one was doing it, so I would go in, and then they put me on as like a casual worker, and so that just meant
You're just really laid back.
yeah, I just like had a backwards baseball cap on the whole time and sunglasses and a
Always a
cigarette. Yeah.
Now, were your sunglasses on top of your baseball
basically.
hat? Baseball hat, or were they on the back of your baseball hat?
This was a basketball hat, actually.
Oh, that's different.
It's totally different. It's like a wide brim all the way around.
And no top. It's like sticking a frisbee, a centered up frisbee over
Oh,
here.
so you've seen them. You're
Oh yeah.
true fashionista. Is the male version of a fashionista fashionisto?
It's
That's the rules of Italian language.
Yeah,
that
fashionista.
You would put an O at the end. And then
Huh.
if there was a bunch of
Never
them, they
thought
would
about
be
it.
fashionisti.
fashionistas.
Yeah. Language. This has been Jessica's language corner.
I was fired from a job. I was let go from a job, and it was my first retail job, which was working at Laura Secord in Place Ville-Marie in Montreal. And I was hired as a casual worker for the Easter rush that happens in chocolate stores. And I was hired to be in charge of stock, but the other person they hired, my friend from high school, who just didn't show up for shifts because she was smart and cool, didn't show up, so I had to work the counter, and I wasn't good at that. And I ate a lot of ice cream. I ate a lot of chocolate. And so when they were like, came time to decide if they wanted to keep me, they did not keep me.
You just had chocolate all around your
I
mouth.
also, the body shop was right across the way, and I'd never really worn makeup before, and I let them do my makeup. And I didn't realize at the time, but when I went to a job interview shortly there afterwards and got the job, they're like, you were wearing so much makeup. It was insane. But they had sold me, like, all these different things to put on my face. I was like, this is how people put on makeup. Like, eyebrows drawn on, lips drawn on, crazy blush.
Lip liner is
super
my
thick
favorite
foundation.
makeup item that exists.
Do you just do the outside?
I've never worn
Different
it.
than
I just
lipstick,
like
right?
that it exists. It's for people so they know where the outside of your lips are.
Okay,
Because
good.
they're the same color
A
as your
lot of the
face.
time it just blends in and they're like, whoa, does that girl have no lips?
I don't want to kiss her.
No.
Where do you
Right
start?
here. Kiss
you
within
just start on
the
the teeth
circle.
and trying to work your way out.
Start really tight in the lips, and then you widen your mouth.
I just draw a little tiny heart right in the middle of my lips. Just so, you know.
If people did more of that sort of statement makeup, I would be really into it. Like before I showed up here, I was at Anthropology, just killing a little bit of time and getting very angry at the things that they sell there that are ridiculous.
It's a silly
But in the
store.
sales section, they've had this lipstick, and I always pick it up before I remember that it's navy blue lipstick.
Yikes.
I look great in navy blue. I bet that lipstick looks great, but I don't know what to do.
Like you were from a Tim Burton movie, though, I bet.
Yeah, especially with my curly hair.
Yeah.
Especially with my...
Your ghostly white complexion.
It is pretty white. I'm wearing so much bronzer right now. It's not even funny, too. Okay, so yeah, that Salvation Army, but then grocery stores.
Yeah, I worked at one, Save
Okay.
on Foods, for like a year and a bit, but it was the craziest, weirdest job I've
Is
ever
that
had.
the big one in Burnaby?
Yeah, in Metrotown.
Okay.
You'd have to travel to Metrotown every day?
Yeah, number 912. Yeah, take this train at 5 in the morning from
Yikes.
Lougheed to go to Metrotown.
That's crazy, because
Yeah.
you're a comedian and a musician, so you're starting your day at 5.
Yeah, I was.
Wow.
Well, I guess at the time I was just doing. Yeah, I guess I was still doing all that stuff.
Were you going to school, too?
Yeah, I was going to school at the same
Wow.
time too. Yeah. But that was a really weird job because that was all people from the 80s who worked there who had like
What do you mean?
It's
Like they were
true.
born in the 80s, or they stopped?
they had
Changing their style.
They like got their job. They like started working.
Oh,
in
yeah,
the
so
80s
they make like $30 or $40 an
Yeah.
hour at this point.
to do the same job as like the teenager who's making like $10 an hour.
But they
Yeah.
get, like, crazy time off. And
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
dad worked at Save on Foods for 40 years.
Whoa.
And he
Wow.
He was one of those guys, but he like started working earlier
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah.
So, but he never worked at that store. Otherwise, I would have been like, oh, yeah, that's my dad.
Yeah. So that was a really weird place.
Was there anything, like, what was if you can think of one thing, what was the worst thing that happened when you were there?
There's so many terrible things that happened.
You can come back.
we'll have
You're
to
going to
have
come
you back.
So,
Yeah.
and you can tell us as many stories as you like, because
Yeah.
I'm already running out of stories.
There were so many scary and weird things. The worst thing...
Scary and weird.
The worst thing that happened, well, like, if I could set the tone for what the job was, my very first shift, because there's a lot of like tension between managers and union and people who are in the union, because the managers aren't in the union.
Oh, wow.
So the managers are always doing stuff to try and like usurp the union, and so people who are the union reps are always like trying
They're
to...
freezing their bras and
Yeah, exactly. TPing their house.
Yeah.
Drawing
Unscrewing
swastikas
the
on their
lid off
foreheads.
of the salt
what?
shaker.
What was the last one?
Drawing swastikas on their foreheads.
Wow, that's a serious game they're running.
It's a crime.
Yay.
Yeah. So like the first day I worked, the manager Al came up to me and he was like, because I had 2 night shifts in a row, and he was like, "Hey man," because it was at the end of my first night shift. He's like, "Hey man, if you don't want to work tomorrow, you can just keep working until the morning, and then you don't have to work tomorrow." So I was like, and it was my first day, so obviously just like
You wanted to do
say
the
yes
right
to
thing.
everything.
Yeah.
So you're like, "Yeah, totally." So the first day I did like a 20-hour shift.
Yikes.
What?
And like was in the morning trying to like sort stuff and was just like
You're just making
melting. Yeah.
rings out of the cookies, the bulk cookies.
But the worst thing that ever happened. Oh, there's so many bad
Wait,
things.
hold on. 20-hour shift. That's not legal.
No.
Yeah, no.
Did
none
you
of it
get
was
like
legal.
double time for the last?
Yeah, so I got double time for the
Okay.
overtime and then double
4
time.
hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or whatever it is.
Yeah, but
And then you're like, and I quit. I'm retiring on this money.
But you couldn't quit because you
No.
were a student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked there for a year. I mean, and also it's really hard to fire you if you're in a union. So when I was fed up with that place, I was calling in sick all the time, and I had 1 real wrist injury, but then I faked 2. So whenever I wanted to
Good.
call in sick, I'd have to say I have a new injury, and then this was when Facebook was just...
How many wrists do you have, though? You just have the 2.
But I used them a lot. Facebook was just kind of getting popular, and I was paranoid of getting caught, so I would get my girlfriend at the time to like take pictures of me with both wrist lesions, like doing stuff, and just put them up on Facebook so that it would correlate.
I thought you were going to say you were just typing with your elbows.
That'd be amazing.
Wow, that's very thorough.
Yeah, I had to. But I would just go on my lunch break, go to the Metrotown Library and nap for an hour, and then like come back.
Okay.
But the worst thing that, I would say the scariest thing that ever happened was when one of our nighttime managers left for a while. We'll call him Stefano.
That's also the name of your gangster friend.
Yeah.
I've decided.
When I remember his name, you guys are going to laugh because it's way more Italian than that.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, so he left for a while. No one really knew why. And he was like the night manager. And he was gone for like 6 months. And then, so during that 6 months, like everything went to shit. I was like freight manager, so I'd pull stuff off the trucks and sort it for all the like dumb teens to go like put into the aisles and stuff like that. You organize
Wait,
it by
were
aisle.
you a teenager at this point?
I guess I was 19, yeah. I was a teenager.
So you were the
Yeah, but
smart
you-
teen and they were the dumb teen.
I imagine that all the lobsters from the fish section were just walking around doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Like, this is really out of
elastic bands
control.
Off of their little
Yeah.
claws. They're taking cereal off
They're
the
opening
shelf.
cheesies.
They're doing
Cheese
dance routines.
Oh, that's what I think happens at grocery stores at night.
At night? Yeah.
At like the end of Fantastic Mr. Fox, where it's all the little foxes dancing in the grocery store.
yeah.
It's just delightful, I imagine.
That'd be nice if that happened at TNT, that like they escaped.
Yeah.
'Cause TNT
Yeah.
is like the aquarium, but
Gooey
everything gets
ducks
eaten.
and everything.
Yeah.
It's true. It's all
true.
fun.
Yeah, there's like those beautiful king crabs.
I met a crab the other day. Like a live crab. It was great. And,
Where?
my friend...
Cooking him.
My friend was just sitting on his car this is sort of a weird story. I was wandering through the neighborhood because there was a power outage and no one really knew what to do. And then I saw my friend sitting on a car, and he was like, "Oh, I went crabbing today." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I caught a crab. Do you want to meet it?" And I was like, "Of course." And this was like far away from the ocean. He had a bucket in the back of his car, and he took out a crab that was as big as the bucket. It was huge. And he was like very much alive. And I shook his little hand.
Aw.
But then I was like, "Good night, sir, because you will die today."
Yeah.
What kind of a crab is that big even? Can you eat that? Or is it
don't
one of those
know.
garbage can crabs from Hawaii? Have you seen the coconut crab?
No.
Google it, guys.
Garbage can?
Yeah, they are scavengers. They're land
Oh,
crabs.
they open coconuts?
Then they look like coconuts, I think is why.
okay.
Oh.
And they open garbage cans.
Wait, so they look like garbage cans and they open coconuts.
They taste like coconut.
They taste like garbage, but they like
You know,
coconuts.
now that it's come up, I'm not sure.
They go well with coconut sauce.
Yeah, I think they're called coconut crabs.
I think we should try one of these
But
crabs.
they're really big. Like the size of the land equivalent would be probably a raccoon.
Whoa.
I
They're
call
huge.
raccoons night dogs.
So what happened to the manager?
Oh yeah, so
Stefano.
he left for a while. The whole place went to shit, and
They didn't replace him in over 6 months.
Well, they did kind of have this temporary manager,
Right.
Okay.
Who was another bag of nightmare
Kibble.
tricks. Yeah. And then, but then there's a rumor that like Stefano's coming back tonight, and like things are gonna get real.
Was he a vampire at this point?
Yeah.
Pretty much. And Stefano was kind of this character, kind of this rough, smaller man, like pretty fast talking, had a lot of like emotional problems and like problems in his life. And when we had barbecues on the parking lot, him and the butchers would all be drinking vodka in a safari minivan. He was a rough dude. And, so he came, I was like, tonight Stefano's coming back. So I was like sorting stuff out from the freight truck, and everyone's like, Stefano wants to see everybody by like the fish cooler
At
or
a
whatever.
safari. Doing shots.
Yeah.
Body shots.
Body shots. And everyone's like, oh shit. Because a lot of these teenagers have never met Stefano because the turnaround was so great. So then he, like, everyone, it was like straight out of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles because everyone was like gathering around. Stefano wasn't there yet. And he like came out of the meat cooler.
Whoa.
Pretty much.
A bunch of vapor or whatever is
Yeah,
like trailing
blood.
after him.
Probably.
He's
And-
blazing in there.
Oh, I'm sure he probably was. And he comes out and he's like, all right, I heard that everything's been going to shit. And all the teens are like super terrified. He's like, not anymore, because I'm back. And then, so everyone's scared, but everyone is not half as scared as me because what everyone else doesn't notice is that when Stefano left the store, he didn't have a scar from his left ear all the way to his
Holy
right ear on his
shit.
neck.
Oh my gosh.
And we had heard that he was in trouble with some people. So Stefano was gone from work because he had gotten in trouble with some shady characters and had his throat cut because he had this big scar. It was crazy. He was just like, and then we heard later, yeah, he was like in the hospital healing from like, he like owed people some money or something
Oh
like
my
that.
gosh.
Can't believe he survived that.
Yeah.
That's actually impressive.
Yeah.
I feel like grocery stores have the potential to harbor some of the most damaged people in society.
Totally.
Yeah, that is not what I expected.
Yeah.
That is very creepy.
Yeah.
And
Super
I always
odd.
wonder, let's say you get into trouble with organized crime.
Your friend from Montreal.
Yeah, it might have been.
What was his
Theme
name?
theme.
Oh, man. I should text somebody and ask because I can't remember, but I do know people that still will remember.
You don't want to get back into that world. Be careful.
It was just one weird night where I sat on his lap.
You're gonna find yourself next weekend at the Caprice. On this guy's lap.
So if they extract from you something like this through violence,
Yeah.
do you still have to pay them back?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shit.
Because they'll come back and do worse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a incentive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I'll break every one of your fingers until I get my money.
But
Then I'll break your toes.
But it's usually it's like makes it even harder because if they break all your fingers, you were like
Then
a
you
professional
can't
ping pong
work.
player or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he needed his
I can't
throat.
go to the Olympics. Yeah, exactly.
He can't go to the
He was a
Olympics.
throat
anymore.
I was a yodeler.
Who knew?
Man, I'm like, now I want to go to that Save-On and see if he's still there.
It shut down. Well, no, I saw him much later at the
Shut
Urban Fair.
down?
Yeah. Finally shut down. It was there forever. Because I used to go there when I was a kid, and then I worked there.
Yeah, I went
dream
there when I was
come
a
true.
kid. My dad actually helped open that store. Because remember, there was a cave-in when all the
Yeah.
cars on the roof like fell into the store.
Yeah, there was a cave-in.
This was in the 80s, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's like a parking lot on top of it. And it was like Senior's Day or something.
Oh my gosh, this
And
is the worst.
a
This
few
is a nightmare,
cars
too.
fell into the store. No one was hurt, I don't think.
Yeah.
I think it was totally fine. But then they had to do a major rebuild, and then my dad helped. He was like, someone was brought in to help open it.
Mm-hmm.
But I was still so freaked out. We would do like shopping there because I grew up in Burnaby also, and I'd always be like, "Let's not park on the roof this time." Like,
Yeah, it could
I'm
happen
so
again.
scared. So my retail nightmare. One time, it was the most obvious scam. Basically, a guy came in, and the area that I work in, there's a business association, and if something bad happens, they'll send out an email to every store in the area to be like, look out for this guy. He's a scam artist. This is what he looks like. This is what he said to us. This is what he'll try and get from you. And so that happened like in November. And then 6 months later, this happened. This guy came in and I was like, oh, I know exactly who this is.
Good for you.
What a weirdo. And he came in when the store was really busy. And actually one of my friends was there. And so he heard the whole setup. And this guy was on his cell phone, like, fake call, obviously, like close to the desk being like, oh, okay, so can't my secretary just write a check for you, or can't I like send you, like, wire you the money? No? Okay. And then he was like, thanks very much. And then he left the store and he came back like half an hour later when there was no one there, and he came in and he asked for money, and he was like, what's that guy who works here who's got the glasses and the beard? And I was like, there's no one by that.
Like a combination of two workers.
Yeah, I was like, that's no one who works here. And then he kept talking, and I was like, oh, maybe that's my coworker who passed away. And I was like, oh yeah, he's no longer with us. And he was like, oh yes, well, then he called him by the wrong name. And I was like, yes, you don't know who you're talking about. And he's like, he told me long ago that if I was ever in any need, he would lend me money. And I was like, that's not a thing that ever happened. And he told me that his car ran out of gas, and that the tow truck came and filled the car up with gas and then refused to leave without getting money. And I was like, oh, there's a bank right next door. Like, you can just go in there and take out money. Like, it's super easy. And he was like, no, that's not my bank. And I was like, okay. He's like, I bank with the Teachers Credit Union. And I was like, that's not a real thing. You're just trying to make me think you're a good guy.
Is it not a real thing? It
I
sounds
don't
real.
think it's real.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I'd never heard of it.
What if we all have accounts there and we don't even know?
And it's like, oh, I'm
Your
a
teacher
secret
started it for
millionaire.
you.
Thousands of dollars in the teachers' union credit.
When I was in elementary school, my teacher opened a savings account for me, and now it's $3. Of course, when he made the original call, he was like, yeah, it's me, the guy with the Mercedes. And so he's like left that little nugget of information in my mind to fester, to be like, oh, he's a real rich guy. Like, he's definitely good for his work. But then I was like, just go, like, even if it's not your bank, you put your debit card in there, you pay $1.50. And he was like, well, I'm not going to pay the fine for that. And I was like,
What?
if you can afford a Mercedes and you have no way of getting cash, you are a liar. Like, that makes no sense. And then he started sort of attacking me like I was being rude to him, and I was like,
How dare you? How dare you?
and I just told him, I'm like, I'm sorry, I know this is a scam, like, I know that you've done this before and it's not gonna work. And he was just like, how dare you? Like, I try and ask you for help and this is what I get. And I was like, you're a weird scam buddy. And there was no one in the store, so when he left the store, I sort of went outside and I followed him, and he just put the hood up of his jacket. He was wearing like an old snowboarding jacket. He put the hood up and then just went to the bus stop. He didn't have a car.
Yeah.
The only reason why I was able to like formulate such like sort of a good thing to say, like a good response to him, is because he like left for half an hour, and I was like, oh, I'm in the middle of a scam. The scam's happening right now. And I was like, yay, what am I going to say to this jerk?
Right.
Like, and I told him, I was like, do you think it's cool to like scam someone else? we're like owned by a
scams
guy.
Save on Foods.
Yeah. Like no one will care there.
I love it.
Yeah, there's been lots of scams over the years, like shoplifting but one of the weirder things that happened to me was when I was my second retail job at the Chameleon Vert in Montreal. I worked there on and off for years, and I was at the corner of Saint Antoine and de la Montagne. And I worked by myself at nights, which was crazy. It was this huge old building, 3 floors.
What?
And
there's so many spots for murderers to hide.
So many spots for murderers to hide. And this, we had we had really expensive things in the store. It was a really pretty store. And I was, I think, 19 when this happened. And this man, he looked like a kind of an old drunk sailor came in. The neighborhood was quite depressed. And so it was also the kind of like, you feel like a dick, but you work in a neighborhood that is largely working class, poor, and they're in a store filled with $3,000 garden benches and $500 tropical plants. And
what? They're just gonna die. It's Montreal.
They eventually did die. Once, what was that woman, Debbie Travis? We delivered a plant to. She had a show on at the time, and she's kind of a big deal.
She always like sponge painted walls. That was her big thing.
She tried to sponge paint the plant.
Really?
No. But I was really into plants
Debbie.
at the time, and so she bought this beautiful plant, and we dropped it off at her house. And this is around the time that I became completely stopped caring about almost everything that everybody did. Because I was like, if you think you're cool because you're a designer, or you work in film, or you're a hockey player, I had to help those people. I was like, you're the worst. I don't like you. But she ordered a plant for their show or for someone's house that she was sponge painting. And I was like, oh yeah, this plant is really special. It came from here. It took this long for the grower to grow it. And so I was over, it needs this kind of care. She's like, it's going in a corner. I'm like, but it needs sun. She's like, it doesn't matter.
Whoa.
I was like, this is a living thing.
Debbie, come on.
But this man showed up and he was like an old kind of drunk guy. Not really homeless, but maybe, because there was a Salvation Army nearby, and like a place where
Aaron worked
stay.
there.
Yeah.
And
saw me crying out front, collecting garbage.
microbrand. Oh man, the first breakup was the worst
Hastings?
breakup.
No, the one that's not a store anymore on Lougheed Mall, near Lougheed Mall.
Oh, okay.
So North Road. And
Every place
Lougheed.
you work at closes after you leave.
I'm sorry, I'm just like...
True.
They made a mistake letting you go.
I managed my cousin's paintball store when I was 15, and that shut down after I quit.
Store when you were 15.
Well, that store shut down mostly because of me.
Well, we'll save that for episode 2 with Aaron.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the scam. You got
He just came in and he started talking, and I remember feeling like a little bit nervous because it was night. It was almost 9 o'clock. It was almost time to shut down the store, and it's a dark corner in my life. And he's like, yeah, he'd been sitting out on the bench drinking beer, and the bench was a $3,000 teak bench from England. And I was like, I guess I have to go take in that $3,000 bench.
You would just put a $3,000 thing outside?
This store.
That's a crazy store.
Once I forgot one of them outside and closed the store and left for the night. And the next morning I came there and I was like, uh-oh, someone stole the bench. But somebody we knew had seen that I left it outside and put it in their car.
Oh, wow.
Which was really thoughtful. But
And they weren't
too much
locked
responsibility
or
for a
anything?
19-year-old kid.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
So he's just making like weird rambling talk. And he's like, so what if I shot you in the head right now?
Oh no.
And I was like, well, you've got to go. He's like, I could just come in here and shoot you later. And I was like, you have to leave. And then I locked the store.
The police.
Yeah,
at
I
that point.
didn't think he was
But you're-
serious, but I also afterwards was like, that's probably not the reaction I should have had.
But you're
Yeah.
19. Like,
I
no one
didn't really know anything.
told you how
that
to
same
react
year, I sat
to
on that
it.
man's lap.
You're like, I need to go to a safe place. I need to get on my man's lap.
I need to get on a nice, like, Italian sugar daddy.
Gosh, what was his name?
Just need to hear some filthy things said in my ear. My
So
man who owns a
stupid.
gun.
I think that anytime you hear something you've never done in bed, just laugh.
That's not real.
Yeah, like no one would do that.
People
to
do
somebody.
not do that.
Puppo of the Week?
Oh,
Puppo
yeah.
of the Week is a segment where
Where we talk about the cutest dog or other equivalent animal that we've encountered that week.
Oh, I thought it was like ever.
Or it could be
That was a
ever.
dog experience.
Well, it's more like
it's always gonna be
for
the
you,
never-ending
it could be
story
ever,
dragon.
but for us, because we're
Okay.
doing this all the time,
Okay.
we got to keep it fresh.
Okay, keeping it fresh. Can I grab another beer?
Of course.
I'm gonna not stop talking though. I'm gonna bring the microphone.
No,
to
I
the,
like it. I don't think anyone's ever had a microphone.
Walked about, trash and stuff.
Going into the fridge, which is weird because a lot of bands have recorded here, and I'm like, how has this never happened?
Just singing while you're.
Yeah, it's on the track. Do you like that beer? I'm guessing it's all right.
I love that beer.
Okay,
I've had
good.
4.
Oh my god!
I know. I'm sorry.
No. Don't apologize.
I don't know.
No.
I bought it for you. I was like,
I think I'm gonna have another piece of cheese.
I was like,
Okay.
guys like beer.
This beer's really good.
Do you have a puppo?
I have a puppo story.
Oh, please.
I guess. Should I go first?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Yeah, the one that I can think of, because I have a weird relationship with dogs, because I grew up and watched a dog attack my friend Scott. Not in this super bad way, but
I don't know why I laugh. I think it's the way you
he
said
was
it.
we were playing soccer and he had a fear of dogs.
Oh no,
course.
that's
And he,
who they go for.
So
Obviously,
the dog singled him out, obviously. And he was a really good soccer player, and he had the ball. And then the dog just came and started attacking him and biting his shorts and And then my other friend Scott, different Scott, had a dog, and the dog would always terrorize me. If I slept over and I'd have sweatpants on, the dog would always jump on me and bite my sweatpants and pull my sweatpants off and my underwear until I was nude.
like the Copper Tone commercial.
doing?
I don't know. He was trying to degrade me. Basically.
Were you hiding dog treats in your butt?
I don't know.
I think this might have been your fault.
But
Did you say you have 2 friends named Scott?
yeah, I had two friends named Scott. Yeah,
What?
I don't have any current friends named Scott, but I'm always open
Yeah.
and ready for new friends.
So that's your puppo of the week?
No. So I just have a weird relationship with dogs.
Okay.
But so one time I went to this house party with Sean Devlin, and we were drinking we had this weird weekend where we drank too much for 2 weekends in a row, and terrible things only happened to me. But it was this was the first of the weekends. Drank an entire Mickey of Canadian Club.
Oh, classic.
And
That's like a whiskey, right?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a terrible whiskey. So bad. But drank all that, and then was at this weird house party, and the guy who was at the house party, who was hosting the house party, was known to give people, he was a kind of an asshole, and he gave people drugs. Not slip them drugs,
I
but
was going to say dogs.
them
I was
drugs.
where is this party?
Yeah. So he also had this giant Saint Bernard, this beautiful big Saint Bernard, and so the guy who was hosting the party came out with this handful of peyote that was pretty big, and I was wasted, and he was you should do this peyote.
All of it?
Yeah, all of it. And then I was yeah, absolutely. So I just ate, way too much peyote out of his hand, but then I had this
like a bird?
Yeah, I don't even think I took it into my hand. I think I grabbed his wrist and
Wow.
But then this giant Saint Bernard and I just had this time. We had this real time.
You both had your pants off?
Yeah, no, he did but it was the nicest experience I've had with a dog. We were wrestling and he would push me down, and I was just laughing the whole time because I was playing drugs. It was totally cool. And he's it's such a big dog.
They're as big as me.
Yeah.
My
they
brother has
probably weigh as
one.
much as you weigh. They're
Yeah.
crazy big.
And
Yeah,
I sometimes think dogs are gross, the slobber and
Those dogs especially.
poo and
Big.
pee and stuff, but
I know.
I didn't care about any of that at the time. He was just slobbering all over me, and I'd try and get up, and he'd just tackle me, and then it ended with me just him lying down and me just using him as a pillow, and it was really good.
Are there photos of that night?
No, there aren't. There might be.
Did
but
it happen?
It definitely happened. There's a bunch of stuff that also happened that I can't remember that Sean told me. Yeah, I went through a phase of I would also think it was funny to do the mystery drug. I remember we were having a drug party and someone was
drug
I
party?
needed to round off my purchase, so I bought this thing that no one really knows what it is.
Round
I'll
off
be
your purchase?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Well, I've only got 100 and you don't have change.
No,
so.
yeah, it was that thing where it was $95, and he was just well, let's just round it up to 100, and I'll give you this mystery drug. Which
Wow. I guess
Do you have
I don't
any idea what it was?
hang out with drug dealers enough to know about that.
it was an ecstasy acid.
Oh,
It was
nice.
not good. There was a lot of speed in it.
Oh.
I took it and had wild diarrhea immediately, and then I was at Ryan's parents' place, and they have a white dirty carpet, and all the stains were like, it was like
laughing at you,
connecting and like growing up the stairs, and like while I was having like crazy diarrhea, the grouting from the tiles was like glowing, like
pulsating.
It was no good.
I can't imagine having to have wild diarrhea and being so high
And hallucinating.
and hallucinating and knowing like diarrhea, even when you're not high, is basically out of your control.
Yeah.
Like
so then I would have obsessively been cleaning the toilet, afraid that people would know that I'd had wild diarrhea, which is I'm only calling diarrhea wild diarrhea now. Because it's wild every time it happens.
So wild.
It's crazy that your body just does that to you. It just lets you down.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so tired of my body letting me down in so many different ways. But that way especially, I'm like, well, this is not practical.
Yeah.
So your puppo story is really great.
Yeah, it was good.
All things considered.
I love, and I think it helped me love dogs more.
That's nice.
Maybe instead of like, because St. Bernards have classically that barrel full of whiskey.
Yeah.
Maybe it should just be a barrel full of peyote that you can take, and then you're like, everything's cool. I want to hang out with this dog.
Hey,
and it's like a version of the Little Prince.
Oh, whoa. I feel like my puppo of the week might even be the same as your puppo of the week because it was the dog that came to your show on Friday. There's a corgi named Link.
Yeah.
Who your friend brought it and she's just dog sitting, but she said that he gets along really well with her like long-haired tuxedo cat. And just I didn't even see it. I've never met that cat, but just the image of those two together in my mind like made my night. It was so magical. And the dog was so relaxed at like a busy comedy show, just hanging out.
Yeah, that dog was great.
And that was probably the longest I've ever spent with a corgi. And I think I follow 9 different corgi accounts on Instagram.
I had no idea how cool they were in person. Like, I'd seen corgis on the street but never really met one. And this corgi was so soft and so relaxed. And then they're so beautiful.
But also playful,
cute,
too. Yeah.
Yeah, she let me give her a mug of water, and I was so happy.
You took a really cute picture.
Yeah.
That's good.
She drank from the mug.
Mm-hmm. Corgis are so cute.
I saw my puppo of the week. I saw the Whippet puppy that lives in my neighborhood.
What? I've never seen a puppy Whippet.
Yeah, he was new when I moved in about a year ago, so he's just like a year and a half, I guess. Mm-hmm. And he's so soft and so sleek, and he's indifferent to me, which I like in a pet. Like, I don't really need a lot. I just like
to admire.
Yeah, and he's brindly and very, very smooth. And he's a cute name like Booker, I think.
Booger.
And, not Booger. And
that would be
I don't
cute
know.
too.
He's just really cute, and his nose looks like an eraser. Like, his whole face looks like a pencil, and the nose is the eraser. He's so narrow. So that's my puppo of the week. Booker the Whippet puppy.
Is it going to be like, are they going to train it to be like a racing Whippet?
I don't think so.
Because I always see, when I see Whippets, they're always in 2s. And then I asked someone why that was, and it's because one is like the experienced one, and the other one's in training. So
This
like,
guy's definitely a loner.
okay,
Yeah.
that's cool
I
because
think he's
I'm
just
always
like a pet.
why do they got to be so strict? I just want to hang out with you, you skinny weirdo.
Yeah, greyhounds and whippets are interesting dogs. Like rescue greyhounds, they're so muscly.
Yeah. What's a whippet? Got
It's a small greyhound.
They're the
small
super
greyhound.
skinny, like
Yeah,
little
they're-
Skeletors.
If a greyhound is like kind of greyhounds are
Oh,
really
greyhounds are
big.
huge. Are they as big as Great Danes?
No, but
they're
greyhounds
like
are large.
in between
Yeah.
a Whippet and a Great Dane.
Yeah.
It's my sliding scale of skinny dogs.
So do you want to do self-help corner?
Yeah.
Alicia Self-Help Corner. Send in your questions. Don't take this advice. Alicia Self-Help Corner.
So I asked the internet if there's a self-help question they'd like me to answer. I got 2. One from Warren Bates, comedian.
Oh.
There you go.
Is it like, what do I do if I want to see the Avengers movie, but I've already seen it? Sorry, Warren.
It's as vague as that. It's what about how do you cheer someone up without making their pain seem invalid to you?
Oh, that's pretty good. Even though it's vague, it is good.
Well, then I wrote back, well, what kind of pain? And then he wrote back, I wasn't thinking of anything specific, but maybe emotional pain caused by outward things, loss, betrayal, and failure. So I guess cheering people up can be tough because you don't want it to seem inauthentic. And it can also seem like you don't want to get into their shit with them. You're like, I don't really have time to listen to you. Or like, oh, this is a bummer for me. So let's be happy. So I would say don't cheer them up. If they're in a really like having a really bad day, is just let them have their bad day and let them feel the feelings. But if it's prolonged, I would figure out what cheers them up and then do that for them. So if you know like they love to go see a movie or they really like a really nice meal cooked for them.
Like the Avengers 2.
Or the Avengers 2. Yes, you're allowed to watch more than once, Warren. Do that. But I say let them be like that.
I think a distraction sometimes is better than like straight up like, let's laugh forever together and forget about your pain. Just be like, look at this weird thing I found on the internet.
Yeah, did you see this cat? I'm easily distracted from anything at hand. But I also think like the pain, like he wrote back like failure and stuff like that and betrayal. And I think that one thing that would be helpful would be to not ignore those feelings and address them instead of pushing them away, which is what we do in our culture.
Totally.
Yeah, and really get into like why that hurts so much. And that's only something someone can do for themselves. Thanks, Warren, for writing it. And the other person
we
wrote...
miss you, Warren.
I don't really miss Warren yet. I'm just kidding, Warren. You're the greatest.
I didn't even know he was gone. Didn't even know.
Oh, gosh. I hope it wasn't your loss and betrayal and it was us. And the other person, Jeff K, at J3FK from Twitter, wrote,
Whoa.
How do I get out of bed?
That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's tough. Like maybe you need a day in bed. Maybe you should have your thyroid checked.
Yeah, thyroid is a big one.
That's a big one.
Who says you have to get out of bed? Bed is the most comfortable spot.
Bed's
That's
nice.
true.
Bed can quickly turn from a safe haven to a weird mind jail pretty quickly, though.
Totally.
Garbage world.
Yeah, if I don't get out of bed first thing in the morning and shower, it's like, that's not good.
Mm-hmm.
But, how do I get out of bed?
Sad light.
Yeah, sadly, that's not bad, but it's summer. Maybe, Jeff, do you live in a basement suite? Do you live in Vancouver in a basement suite?
We
can't help you. We are
a
also...
moment of silence to think that Jeff was going to respond. For a moment, I thought Jeff was going to respond.
Jeff, can you hear me?
If you're having trouble getting out of bed, maybe you're not getting enough sleep. Maybe you're not getting good sleep. Maybe you're a bit depressed.
Yeah.
You might want to start doing like a daily walk, just 30 minutes.
He did say,
If you are not able to walk, I take back the last thing that I said. Okay, thanks. This has been Alicia's Health Corner. Bye.
Wow.
I'm trying to think, because I had a time where it was really hard to get out of bed, and it was like gearing towards agoraphobia.
Sure.
So I can't remember what I did. I guess I just had to do things.
Yeah.
If you just say, like, so if you, like, it's almost like self-sabotage, but it's not. Because it's, like, actually helping you. Like, if someone's like, hey, you want to come get lunch? Just say yes, so you're, like, forced to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I
I
don't know.
always find
That's
that
a good rule.
that like when I'm in bed or more likely on the couch because it's almost more comfortable than bed. That's a really comfortable couch to lay down on.
Looks good.
I never, and I've said yes to going out to something. I'm always really hesitant and really like resentful. I'm like, oh, I don't want to leave. And then as soon as I get there, I'm like, I'm so happy I'm
Yeah,
here. Like
this
you
is
have to
fun.
just like override your brain and be
Yeah.
like, you don't know what's best.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when I've been kind of down, or like a combination of down and broke is the worst.
Oof.
Like suffering from loss and also having no like financial stability. Like just making myself do one thing a day, like go
Yeah.
for a walk or
When you just have enough money to pay for rent, but like not much else.
yeah, you're like, and you want to do stuff, but you really can't. Like
Yeah.
you would maybe if you I had like a year like that where I was like I'd love to do stuff, but I really can't afford to.
Or even just like make one thing a day. I find that I made like a resolution one year to do that because it's like you go through an entire year and you're like, I've just been working and then I'm so tired and I don't do anything creative and it's so lame. But like do a drawing or like make a nice meal or like make some cookies
That's
or like
cool.
write a song, play some music, do something. Like, even if you're terrible at it, it'll be so different from what you're used to, just like sitting and feeling sorry for yourself. And you can still feel sorry for yourself through your art too.
Yeah.
It's like, especially what art is for.
Yeah, and also, like, if you're worried about, like, getting better, like, that, whatever bad feeling is definitely going to be there when you're done doing whatever you do. Like, don't worry, you're not going to solve all your problems by making one cool thing.
No, not at all.
It's going to be there.
In fact, it'll remind you of it every time you see it. You'll be like, oh yeah, that's
I made that when I was super sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like what all the best music and stuff comes from. Like, no one writes a great song about being like, my life's perfect right now, guys.
None of the good comedy comes from that time.
No,
though.
yeah.
There's
No,
always like the
not at all.
shittiest comedy. You're like, that wasn't funny.
No, it's like,
Well, that's what happens to, like, rich, like, when people...
Yeah, it's like, I love
later
my
comedians,
wife.
When they're, like, good and stuff, and it's like... I think usually when that happens, they get people to write for them or something like
Yeah,
that.
right.
Like,
that
within
happened
their...
to Patton Oswalt. I remember, like, the last Patton Oswalt thing I saw, he was like, well, I love my wife and I have a really cute baby. And I was like, mute.
No.
He still gets mad at everything.
No, he's still great. Don't get me wrong.
I think that babies either look like Patton Oswalt or aliens.
Yeah.
Jay has a baby nephew and he looks just like Donald Pleasance.
Who's that?
He was an actor like in the 70s. He was in like Halloween and Escape from
Does
New
the
York.
baby have a
He's a bald
hockey mask?
No, he's a
That's
bald
Jason.
Oh.
bald
I
man
should
with like
keep forgetting
piercing
that.
blue eyes.
Okay.
You'll totally know him. He's in like some Roman Polanski movies. Anyway, and I feel like every time I say that to the baby's parents, they're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Our baby's adorable. It doesn't look like
You just mentioned all these horror movies?
an old bald man. And I'm like, no, he's a really good actor though. Like,
Oh, is he in Halloween?
He's
Is
like-
he the psychiatrist?
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that's him.
He's
Does
also
he
in
get
a-
murdered in it?
No, I
No,
think he
he-
helps
then I've
find the
definitely not seen it.
murderer.
He's always trying to find Michael Myers.
Yeah, he's on this case.
He's also in a really good Dario Argento movie, Phenomena.
Oh yeah, he's
With
the
Jennifer
guy with
Connelly?
the monkey.
With
Yeah,
the monkey assistant, yeah.
That is a great movie.
Great movie.
It's about like using bugs as your friends to help you solve murder.
Yeah. Jennifer Connelly uses the power of bugs to solve some murders at a ballet school.
It's
What a crazy movie. I didn't realize how insane that was until I said that
my
sentence.
favorite part of that movie is I watched this movie actually for I do like every October I try and watch a horror movie every day of the month. I've
Cool.
never done it all the way through, and I have a blog called sexualintimidatindemon.tumblr.com where I write about the horror movies. And I watched that one last year, and the best part of that movie is like she shows up. It's this international school, so it's all these rich kids from wherever, and their parents are like diplomats, so they're like, we don't have time for you. And she just shows up, meets her new roommate, and then she's like, I'm hungry, and she opens a jar of baby food and starts eating it with a toothbrush. And it's like, that's just normal. That's what you do if you're
Jennifer
rich.
Connelly?
Yeah, and this is before Labyrinth. Like she's
She's-
very
Oh,
young.
she's just a kid.
Super young, yeah.
But she's super like fashionable. Like all the clothes are by Armani, I think.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Big crush on Jennifer Connelly. She's so cool.
Yeah, she's a cool lady.
She has cat eyes.
Yeah, she's got really good. There was a magazine that had like a close-up, like 2-page spread of just her eyes, and I cut it out, and I used to have it on my wall.
Cool.
She's great eyebrows. I mean, she's a great. Well,
She's not just eyes and eyebrows.
yeah, I don't. She's got a nice butt too. She's really skinny. I'm so jealous.
Alicia's got a just Jennifer Connelly butt collage.
Yeah.
Well, that was on the other side, and I was like, I had to choose one, and I was like, I'm only 16.
Butter eyes.
Butter
Well, eyes
eyes.
is the window to the soul. The butt is the window to
Is
the...
that like a butter face? Like she's got real butter eyes. It's like the whole face, no, but the eyes, ooh, va va boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the worst term. I'm sorry, butterface is
Baba
awful.
boom?
I've never said
didn't
baba
know.
boom in my
Baba
life.
Boom's good.
I thought when it was Butterface, and I had to ask my friends Dave and Graham because they kept making Butterface jokes. I thought it meant that their face looked like it was made out of butter.
Butter.
It's just melting.
Yeah, because they had some scary guy from a movie on their blog for their podcast, and it looked like his face was made with butter, and there's pins in it. It's from a horror movie. The guy's
Hellraiser.
like- yeah, and it's like, oh, his face looks like it's made out of
But
butter.
it's not. It's just he's like a demon.
Yeah, I didn't know. I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of movies.
Pinhead.
I don't know a lot about music. So this has been Retail Nightmares.
Yeah.
Aaron, what kind of projects are you working on these days?
Right now,
Yeah, you got your new necklace.
got my new necklace. What does it say?
Forget again.
Fairest
too.
of them all.
Fairest of them all.
Fairest of them all. Right now, just trying to get my life back on track.
You have a new apartment.
Gotta get a new room.
When do you move in?
Cheap. Tomorrow.
That's great.
So excited.
Yeah.
Doing the Sunday service.
Yeah, very. If you haven't been to see the Sunday service and you have a chance in your lifetime, you better go.
Yeah, it's
amazing.
fun.
So
if you don't
funny.
have enough money to do it, just message me and you can come. I don't
Oh,
care.
that's so sweet.
And
We just
I don't know.
messaged him.
That's it. I did like this boom sound for Christine and Beta's.
That's right. I filmed something with you guys.
Yeah, right. So I'm excited for that to come out. That's not a project I'm working on. That's something
You've already done.
What
But
about
I'm
that?
very excited about that.
You're in like a short movie about orgies?
Oh yeah, Cam McLeod, very, very funny improviser and comedian. Made a short film called Orgies Happening Tonight about.
Hey, what is it about?
It's
Yeah.
about a guy who gets he gets broken up with his girlfriend, and then he has this terrible boss. So he has like a bad life, or whatever. He's going through a tough time. And this janitor, played by Cam McLeod, tells him that he should go to an orgy. So he does.
So he's just playing himself.
He's just playing himself. A greasy janitor.
It's a sex
And then the kind of short film was about this like timid guy at this orgy, and I play the orgy master, and I'm in a kimono and a speedo.
Poster is very
Wow.
funny.
Yeah, it's a lot of leg.
Yeah, you look good. And I
ah,
definitely looked at it
thank
for
you.
a long time and thought, is this a painting or a photograph?
Yeah. And we filmed that whole thing, and everyone in it is so funny. Ooh, yeah, I'm like, I had 4 beers, I'm drunk, because I just heard the sentence, everyone in it is so funny.
You said it faster than that. Don't
No, but
worry.
still, I recognize the, ends in that sentence were, if you wrote it down, they'd be smudged a bit.
That's
but-
fine.
Everyone in it's so funny, and we made it when I was having really intense anxiety, so that's really funny to watch.
So now, can you pick up on it? You know that you were feeling, but can the viewer see that you were
I don't think
having
so.
a lot of anxiety?
Was
at
it
the
because
time?
you were wearing a Speedo and a kimono?
Partially.
Did that didn't help?
No, it definitely didn't help.
I don't think it would help me either.
I don't know. I think that I could because this is the thing that with improv and with all performance, you can tap into a zone where you can still do the job that you can do.
Yeah.
But the fact that exists and the crazy anxiety exists, so I don't think people can notice, but I can notice.
Right.
Yeah. Because I can see it in your eyes. You're in my eyes are just what?
Which
What is
probably
the
is
world?
great for a person that runs an orgy.
Yeah, like the wild intensity.
Yeah.
I can't look at something good that I've made or a show that I did that was fun. If I was going through a hard time, that's what I remember. I don't remember that the show was fun.
The show was fun.
Or that I enjoyed that thing or I'm proud of it. I'm just I was sad.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense, though, because the show was just a respite for, whatever was at the forefront of your,
Yeah, totally.
your thought process.
Or I had to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That too. Because I had to do this. Because you can't just,
Back out.
be the one of the main characters in the thing and, just be sorry.
Or phone it in.
Yeah.
Just be like, hey,
I'm
welcome to
scared
the
of the
orgy,
outside,
whatever.
indefinitely.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
This is the first time I've been out in a while and I'm simulating a weird orgy.
It's not helping.
No, it's not helping at all.
How long is the movie?
I think it's 10 minutes long or something like
Oh,
that.
man. That's the perfect movie length for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But he
I wish
made
Mad Max Fury Road was 10 minutes
I know.
long.
I wish that movie was actually a bit shorter.
That movie was so good, though.
So
It
good.
was pretty good.
That first 5 minutes is
I thought
total
I was
chaos.
going to... I don't...
Barf?
Yeah. I mean, I often think I'm going to barf for a variety of reasons, mostly because of something I just ate that I shouldn't have eaten. But I was so intense, and the whole movie, I was basically just yelling. I was like, ah!
Yeah.
Really did enjoy it. It was long, too, but I didn't know how long it was because I was completely immersed in the story.
Totally. The whole time.
Guys, can I tell you a secret?
Yeah.
I cried in that movie.
Yeah, of course.
Well, I don't want to give any spoilers away, but...
I think it's okay. If you haven't seen it by now.
Okay,
Come on.
when you
You're not your
think
friends.
maybe that Furiosa's gonna die, I was
Yeah.
fighting, and then I was like, well, I'm just crying now.
Furiosa, is she she's pregnant?
No, Charlize Theron.
Oh, Charlize Theron. Yeah.
When she gets stabbed, and you're like, no, you're so cool.
Yeah, she's very cool.
I want you to be the main character of all the next one's
Every
called
movie.
Mad Max Furiosa. So
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
They're
Yeah.
making a second?
They're making 4.
Is Tom Hardy in it as well?
Yeah, he's Mad Max. I hope that Mad Max
He's Mad
Furiosa
Max?
is them just
She's Furiosa?
boning for 4 hours
It's not
in
gonna
3D.
happen. Do you
That would be
think?
cool.
No, I don't
think he was
I
interested.
don't think they're attracted to each other.
I'm not sure.
Which I love that there was like a big action movie
It's
with
always
no
weird.
sex in it because
Yeah, it was
they
great.
always throw a sex scene in there and you're
Yeah.
like,
It's needless.
why am I
Yeah.
watching this? Get back to explosions.
And was it my imagination? It seemed like the villains died more graphic deaths than the heroines in the
Yeah.
movie. It definitely seemed like they treated the,
I think
the
they
good
did-
characters
they did it
with
on
a little bit
purpose.
lighter hand. I
Yeah.
thought it was well done because you're
Yeah.
like, get him dead, and then the older woman
Yeah, the older
dies,
woman-
and you're like, and it's done so beautifully.
Yeah,
like,
they just kind of get shot off their motorcycle and fall down, but
Yeah.
the guy got his like face ripped
yeah,
off and
you're like,
stuff.
yeah, rip his face off.
Yeah.
No, don't die, seed lady.
But it was also like really like, and now he's dead. And they just showed that one brief scene where I was sort of like, did they just like rip his whole junk out of his face?
That's how you kill people.
I think it's weird that, because Tom Hardy, he was Bane, right?
Yeah.
I think it's weird that he's considered a like stereotypically handsome man, and like his most popular roles are him wearing a mask over his
Yeah.
face.
And
Totally.
Bronson, when he's in that great movie Bronson.
Isn't he all like buff in that?
Yeah, I think he's a really good. And there's the one where he's driving the whole movie.
Oh, yeah.
Locke. That
Yeah.
was.
He was in The Drop with James
yeah,
Gandolfini.
Gandolfini.
I haven't seen that yet.
It's okay.
Is it
Your number
okay?
one
It's like
boyfriend.
very anxiety-inducing, but it's good.
Both number one boyfriends now. Tom Hardy is one of those actors where I feel badly for looking at his mouth so much.
Well, don't worry, he's got a mask over it in
Yeah.
most of his films. So.
I didn't see that Batman movie until long after I had to see so many comedians do Bane impressions.
Oh, yeah.
Ooh, no.
And that's a movie I felt was too long.
That's a movie that I was glad was so long because I saw it on one of the hottest days of the year, and I just went to see it for the air conditioning in the theater. And I snuck a bottle of gin into the movie with
Ooh,
me.
nice.
All of our
It
stories
was
are like, how do you sneak things into
delightful.
places?
I saw it at the Rio, which they like check your bag, and I was like, "It's just sunscreen in there. Don't worry about it." And I can't believe I got away with it.
Nice.
Sorry, the Rio.
Don't worry about
Your
it.
drinks are delicious. Tom Hardy, keep up the good work.
He's a good actor, and yeah, it's terrible to just look at him like I see his acting 1st. Every once in a while, I'm like, "Oh, right, your mouth." So nice. He's such a handsome man with a lot of acting credibility. I'm very sorry
And a good heart.
to objectify anybody.
Also, he's a feminist, so
Yeah,
that's cool.
aren't we all?
He saw
No,
some
apparently
cool-
not. No.
Not a lot of people.
Wow, I'm really surprised at what's going on out there, guys.
I know, right?
It's very upsetting.
It's 2015. Come on.
I was going to say, like, last week I was really down because Jen Grant, when I first started
yeah.
doing comedy,
Oh, yeah.
was really, really nice to me, and recently got to work with her at a corporate thing, where it was a theater show. And she's so smart and so lovely, and when the thing came out in the news about her being sexually harassed, it brought up all these weird memories I had about being a stand-up and not really ever wanting to be a stand-up comedian because you have to put up with so many weird things.
Right.
And yeah, I was so down last week. It just took me forever to get out of that funk. And then when I came out of that funk, I was so happy. Oh man, I can't believe how long I stayed in that place of like, what is wrong with people? Mm-hmm. I really fell into a hole. And reading all those articles, I was on the ferry going to a theater show in Duncan with Erica Sigurdsson and Katie Ellen Humphreys, and so fun to go and get paid really well to do comedy and get treated really nicely. And someone in front of me was reading the newspaper, and I saw Jen Grant's face in the paper, and it was a scathing. Christy Blatchford wrote this scathing editorial about how people are too sensitive. And I was
Really?
like, what? Yeah, and this is really shitty and then I tweeted at Christy Blatchford, who does not use Twitter, so I just eventually deleted it. But it brought back all this this shitty stuff that people go through in comedy. I think men and women go through different types of shitty stuff, probably sometimes similar things. But yeah, comedy, sexism.
Don't even get me started with sexism in the music world.
Oh, yeah, that too.
That is a nightmare. We could dedicate an entire episode to that.
Totally.
Have Aaron back for that.
Yeah.
I'll
Have
do
you
it.
experienced sexism in music?
No, but I understand the difference where I can wear whatever I want on stage and not feel like any sort of objectification or anything like that.
Well, you've got your necklace now. You don't.
Yeah, well, this
change
necklace is gonna.
things. You are the fairest of them all. It's official.
That's going to challenge some gender norms,
Yeah.
I think.
Definitely gonna pop into some stores, see what the vibe is. Buy some chew, like buy kind of typically macho things. Some chew, some condoms.
Those are macho things.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
very macho things. Yeah.
Condoms are so macho.
Condoms are so macho.
Whenever I have to buy condoms, I'm just like, this is great.
Yeah.
And at the same time, can't I order these by mail?
You could.
They have enough time to get here.
Yeah.
I can hold out.
I once tried to buy condoms at the grocery store, and I had the because now that they have the self-checkouts, you're like, hell yeah, let's just do this. Got
Yeah.
way more confidence now. Don't have to, like, look at someone who looks pretty close to my mom.
Yeah.
And
But you're maintaining eye contact the whole time.
Yeah.
She's like,
And then
buying
you're-
condoms.
then you're also, like, non-verbally mouthing the word condoms the entire time.
You're like, for my dad.
My mom used to say condoms in a weird way.
Condom?
Condoms?
Yes, and prophylactics.
Oh,
weird.
prophylactics.
No one says that.
That
Prophylactics, same prophylactics puts, like, a weird plastic taste in your
Yeah.
mouth or something like
Does
that. I don't
anyone
know.
call them rubbers anymore?
Mm,
I'm going to start
Only
it.
for
Bring it back.
comedy's
Rubbers.
sake, I think.
rubbers.
Rubbers.
That just makes me think of galoshes,
That's
which
what
is
I
sort of
use.
like a condom for your foot. If you're doing like a foot job, and you don't want to get your shit
Go on.
dirty. I don't know.
I think that when it comes to foot jobs, that maybe somebody might appreciate a galosh on it.
Little goulash.
Have you ever had to use those finger condom things? Like if
If you at a restaurant?
For finger banging?
Yeah, I didn't.
this is gonna sound weird, but my dad always had to use these when he worked at Save-On, because like if you get a cut on your finger,
Yeah.
you couldn't just put a Band-Aid on it. You'd have to put this finger condom on it, and then you have these weird like little mini condoms on your fingers. And then he'd get home and he'd always like take them off like on his dresser, and they'd always be sitting there, and I'd be like, is this a real condom? And I just like didn't understand what sex was. And I was like, oh, did I just see something dirty? And it's like, no, it's just a dumb thing.
Finger thing, but they look exactly the same though.
But tiny.
yeah, tiny.
Did
Very
you get busted at the self-checkout with a price check?
No, so like I was like, cool. So I bought a pack and then I like scanned it and then it said the thing where it's like, computer error.
Right.
Please see attendant. And then like I saw the attendant lady and then I just ran away and like left them there.
Were you just buying that one thing, or did you
Just
have like
I think
10 like prop?
I think it was
groceries?
just the one thing. I think that was the reason why. It was just that thing.
All right. Well, thanks so much. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Aaron, so much for coming and joining
Thank
us.
you,
You're the
Alicia.
greatest.
Thank you,
Very
Jessica.
good. Neat,
Namaste.
neat stories.
Namaste.
Namaste.
It was fun.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.